Ooh, alright everyone, I am back with my second episode of Net Damage. So, I was doing a Jinteki deck last time, I'm doing a Jinteki deck this time. Get ready for a theme, I didn't pick that name for nothing. Today's menu though, we have an Ag Infusion deck, but not just any Ag Infusion deck, we have a Mushin Ag Infusion deck, so a Agen Mushin deck, if you will. And if Mushin decks aren't your thing, then fine, don't watch this episode, but I definitely wanted to make a Ag Infusion deck that was not the typical like Mythic Ice Suite or the Hydra build. And this is basically an updated version of the old Polana Fake Food Mushin deck. So what this one does is it I like this one a lot because it has a lot of different win conditions. So as a Mushin deck, you can just have people slam into traps and die, of course. But this one has a few other things to it. You notice the Labyrinthine servers. That's a big part of this deck. So the big combo that this deck is built around is to score out Labyrinthine servers via Mushining, and then use the can't check out ability off Labyrinthine plus the ability of Ag Infusion to send your opponent into a gigantic trap that they didn't run earlier. Which means if you put down a trap and they don't run it, you can make it gigantic so they can't possibly live through it, and then you can just boop them onto it and they'll just die. Now, that by itself is not enough for the whole deck to be cohesive, because obviously you have to rely on Mushining out that particular agenda. So there's several other ways you can win in this game with this deck. The other one is to use Clones Are Not People to win the game in 2 agendas. So that puts a lot of pressure on people to run the things you Mushin. So you can be on 3 points from one agenda and then just all of a sudden go to 7 by Mushining something one turn and the next turn Clones Are Not People scoring it. Or you can do the other thing and get to 4 points on your first agenda and basically be on game point super early in the game, which makes them want to run all your stuff. There's also, if they run into a 4 advanced cerebral overrider, then there are 4 brain damage in 1 hand size. You can then get Neural EMP and Archive Memories, and if they run, you can double Neural them and kill them. Or there's also the Punitive Counter-Strike into Obokata combo. So if they steal an Obokata, you can then Punitive them for the win. Although I don't honestly think this deck has enough money to consistently pull that off, so I'd be okay with taking that out of the deck. The old Polana version had a lot more money and could do that a lot better. This one I don't think it's consistent enough, so I think I could do something else with that. Now you'll notice that there's a medical research fundraiser in here instead of Celebrity Gift, and I'm sure that's a point of contention for a lot of you, and I'm not a huge fan of it either. But it's just playing better in this deck. You'll get more money from Celebrity Gift, but the fact is this deck does not have the traps to scare people away from running HQ. If you reveal traps like your Overriders and June Bugs, they'll want to run HQ to trash them before you put them down. If you reveal agendas, they'll want to come and steal them. So this deck doesn't have a way to reveal stuff and make the runner not want to come get it. So Research Fundraiser is ultimately the better choice. Ice, I think with more testing I could probably improve the Ice Suite on this deck. Honestly, it's solid, but I think there's probably some tweaks I could put here or there to snap it up a bit. I'm sure someone could test this enough and get some better Ice choices, but this should be solid. Chiashi, DNA Tracker, stuff that you can just, like Cortex Left just becomes fodder if you find it later. The 2 unique ice are Whirlpool. That way you can get the jack out effect even if you don't score the Labyrinthine. So that way you have a way to get your no jack out abilities. They can hit a Whirlpool and then you can boop them onto a Death Trap. Sandstorm is specifically for Employee Strike. And I was playing with a version of this deck before Employee Strike was restricted, so I might not feel the need to have Sandstorm in there anymore because you don't see nearly as much Employee Strike. But still, it's nice to have in there because it lets you get an Ag Infusion proc without even when you don't have access to it because Employee Strike is going off. So yeah, it's a really fun deck. It is admittedly, I guess you could call it a prison deck, because once you get the combo online, once you get the lock established, the runner effectively cannot run for the rest of the game. Because if they do, you'll either automatically boop them into a, like 10 advanced Junebug or a 6 advanced Overrider, or you'll just like double neural them when they only have one hand size. So it is like it is a awkward like Mushin prison type deck, but it's nowhere near as oppressive as something like the Mushin genomics decks were, or anything like that. It's not a top tier deck, but it is a really fun deck, and I think it's unique in that it actually uses labyrinthine servers, and I really, really like how many different like paths to victory there are in this deck. So it's not super tier 1 or anything like that, but it's fun and it's solid and it's very flexible. So let's give it a spin. We got a Max, and we've got a that is an ugly opening hand. No, mulligan that away. Don't forget the Gulhoof. Much better, there we go. And we got a Mushin, even better. So let's put that right there. Let's get... and the turn. A bunch of stuff. Okay, what do you get? Stalls, paperclip. We got. Sure, gamble, stimulate, activist meeting, MK Ultra, filter, coding, reject, spoon. So we know we've got ice destruction, and they're going to trope some of that stuff back. We know they've got ice destruction. That's not good. It's spooners. That means their DNA trackers are going to get eaten. So they didn't hit their Mopus if they're trying to find that. Oh, there is right there. They milled it. That's bad luck for them. Let's draw. Yeah, they're gonna spoon to that. So yeah, they're the same old thing spooned. It's gonna cost them a bunch of money at least. Okay, that's what we're doing next turn. Alright, so next turn we're doing the Mushin Labyrinthine combo. One thing about playing a Mushin deck like this is that when you have the choice early on between traps or agendas, you will have a better success rate if you go for agendas early. Like if you have the choice between Mushining a trap and Mushining an agenda, early on people are way less willing to run for advanced things. Because if you're already set up and the rest of your hand and deck is just HP, then eating damage is a lot more suitable than taking a giant hit when you're still trying to get set up and then just playing catch-up for the whole rest of the game. And people really don't want to lose important stuff that they want early on. So the earlier in the game you are, the generally more likely it is that people will not run Mushin stuff. So use that to put out agendas when you get those early agendas scored when you get the chance. And obviously that's not 100% logic, there'll be exceptions, but in general, the earlier in the game that you advance Mushin something, the less likely it is the runner will run it. And just watch, they're going to run it now that I just said that. Just to give me sass. They did not. Okay, we're good. So advance, score. Got my Labyrinthine, that is very, very, very important. And let's go ahead and slap Cortex and R&D and gain a credit, because we need money. And so they use their same old thing to play their frantic quitting again to get the Mopus. Oh, and oh shit, that's not good. What are they doing? That is really not good. Yeah, runners who can get effects from archives are not good for this deck. Toss the X, they can't steal it right now. Because this deck typically only has to worry about protecting HQ and R&D. Runners that Anarchs that extend that to archives are definitely a problem. Do I want to put that there? I've got the punitive. If they draw up and take that, could I kill them with punitive in return until they will? If they had done it that turn, if they're going to get money and do it, yeah, I'm just kind of screwed. So let's. I don't want to do this. If their Amakua is not 5 strength, then I can sandstorm them into another server, but I could do that anyway. Sandstorm is there just to counter an early, or not early, employee strike. So they milled a feedback filter, that's good. So let's just gain 3 credits, I don't need that right now. I got nothing to motion with. Okay, yeah. If they're on Mopus, then punitive's not going to happen. So let's chuck that. Yeah, I'm honestly on the fence on the punitive Counter-Strike Ovocata thing in this deck. Like, if we were the previous version of this deck that ran that out of Polana, could use that a lot better, but you're running it out of Ag Infusion where you're definitely poor, and you need Big Fat Ice to keep them out of your HQ and R&D. Like, the punitive very, very rarely comes through, so I think, yeah, out of Polana it's way more useful because you have a lot more money, but out of Ag Infusion I think the punitive is a lot less useful. I'm trying it, but I could easily take the punitive out and spend that deck slot and that 2 influence on something else. As tempting as it is, because someone's stealing an Obokata and then you like punitive Neurally MPing them or punitive archived punitiving them. As amazing as that is, you have to have a big fat money lead. And there is a bunch of money cards in this deck, and they do have Mushins. You don't have to pay much money to score agendas, but so much of your economy is dumped into making sure your 2 main centrals are safe that you very typically will not have the kind of money lead that it takes to consistently land a punitive. So let's Anyway, but we've got a situation. We've got the 4 advanced cerebral Mushin, and we've got the labyrinthine servers. And they have no cards left in their deck. And there they go. Yep. They're not going to trash it, so they can maw me, but like okay, if you want to maw me every turn, I'll totally let you serial me over again. Okay, so what I was gonna say is if they do not run the cerebral, we can make it we can boost it to 6, make it lethal, and then because we have the no jack out thing from Labyrinthine and all these unresed ice, that the runner basically just cannot run for the rest of the game, because if they do, they die, because we will not make them unable to jack out, use the ideal ability, bump them onto the cerebral, and then just kill them. However, since they were kind enough to throw themselves onto the cerebral for us, now they're at 4 brain damage and like nothing left. So if they run anywhere, we'll just kill them anyway. So this is pretty much game. I can also just neurally impede them to death right here. It's the other way you kill them, so. Yeah, don't forget that. So yeah, even without the punitive in the deck, if I took that out, which I'm thinking I probably will, even without the punitive, the neurally impedes are still very relevant. If you want to mess with this deck yourself, you take out the punitive, which is don't take out the neurals. You want to keep those for that thing that just happened. If they eat the 4 advanced overrider, then the neurals are absolutely a kill win con, which is what just happened. So you could double neural them or neural archive memories neural them for the win after they take a 4 cerebral anytime they run after that. So this deck does a lot of you fucked up and now you basically can't run for the rest of the game, or it's excruciatingly hard for you to run for the rest of the game. But we got the lock that time. So if I didn't have the neurals, I would have just been able to just draw up and score out at my leisure, because I could have put any agenda behind any face down ice and just score it out as I pleased. Because if they run anything, I can just chuck them into the death trap. Alright, let's get this started. And it's Omar. That is not good. Opening hand. That's really not the best either. Let's mulligan that. Better. Okay. No. There's upfront money, but there's no ice. Really want that early ice against Omar. Well, let's go for it. Balls out. We really want every chance to get this scored, and maybe set up the lock later. Leaving ourselves very vulnerable, though. And against Omar, you absolutely want early ice. HQ. And you can see that sucks. But if he lets us score this, that's going to be worth it. And he will. Fantastic. Gain credit. I get some money. Instant score that. Thank you very much. And if I need to defend against that turning wheel, though, or that's going to get really bad really fast. So I've got the servers. So that's the first half of our combo. So if I can set up the kill, then I have the lock on the game. But right now, I got that very important combo piece, but right now we are very, very vulnerable. So I just need to focus on not getting run over by right now for the rest of the game. Which means I need ice, and I need it now. There's the avocados. Okay, pretty trash. Oh, wow. One of each heat breaker. Oh, really? That's probably the best avocado steal I've seen in a while. Rocky, sit down. I don't want to value Neural. I'm just get rid of that last card. I'm really tempted to, but I really shouldn't. Now I'm really tempted to. Actually, no, wait, what am I doing? Tempted my ass. He's dead. Or he isn't. I've had worse. Damn it. Well, that's going to come back and... Duggars, really. That's going to come back and bite me in the ass. I thought I had an early win right there. Yeah, he's just, even if it doesn't hit anything, he's just building up that wheel, and that cost me 4 credits, yeah. Damn you, I've had worse. So that the turbine wheel is getting huge. Thank you. Okay, there's ice. There's ice. Okay, we've got something we can do here, but let's go with that on R&D and that on archives. The one card in his hand had to be the iPad worse, didn't it? Ah. I don't think anyone will blame me for getting greedy for that kill. He only had one card in his hand. Okay, Mirage, that's gonna help, but right now I need... There, maybe he's on low money right now. There's ice on all 3 servers. Maybe he'll give me some breathing room. Although I clearly can't res all 3 of these. Do I want to res that? So costume 8. Yeah, I need to tax them. So it should cost him 8 credits to get through that. 2. Come on, buddy. Is he thinking about taking damage? He's going to take 1. He's going to take 1. They hit a stim back. That's not bad. Where is he going to go? Oh yeah, that turning wheel is not going to be fun. Really not going to be fun. I could really use some... I don't need Whirlpool / Data Sucker. I mean, it works. That alt art definitely works for Whirlpool. Well, it's just kind of awkward because we all know that's a runner card. But I don't need it because I've already got the Labyrinthine scored, so the Whirlpool's just blank right now. Yeah, typically this deck only has to worry about covering HQ and R&D. Having to cover a 3rd server is definitely not good for it. Okay, so it's still costing him something to use his ability. definitely prefer 2 ice on R&D, but as long as it's... As long as it's costing him something to get in. She's not really going to keep him out. Come on, I need more of my money cards. I want to see one. So it cost him 6 of his 8 credits to get through that. Turning wheel's not going to be fun. But now he's going for it, okay. Ah, he's going to guarantee get that because I can't pay anything. Damn it. You can't steal an avocado, though. Like, is he... Didn't get, that means he didn't hit any traps either. That means they must have all been operations or ice. So the traps are 0 to... That'll help. The traps are 0 to trash, so that means he didn't see any traps there either. This is all operations and ice for the next couple of turns, which gives both of us a chance to do something. Let's hit that. Don't have anything to motion, but where do I want to put the D? I need something in front of Mirage-U. I can't just leave Mirage-U naked, or then they can like pseudo-vamp me. I think on HQ is probably the best bet right now. No, there's good arguments for putting that DNA tracker on. Actually, wait, yeah, because I know the next couple of cards are nothing I need to protect. I know I'm not, because I know I'm not protecting agendas or traps for the next couple of turns. I don't need to worry about defending HQ really, because there's nothing for him. There's nothing important for him to get. So yeah, it would have been better to put that on R&D or archives. Yeah, it would have been better to put that DNA tracker in R&D or archives. A little bit. I mean, there's good arguments to put it on all 3 servers. So I think I'm definitely going to put this Koma Inu in front of R&D. And if I get another piece of ice to throw over archives and some money... Right, okay, there's a Cortex lock. I mean, it's something. That'll do 2 damage to him right now. So... let's put that in R&D, because I need him not in my deck right now. Need this man off my deck. Creepy old man. And here it comes. That's going to cost him 3. It'll cost him 6 to break a Cortex lock, as long as it still does damage. 9. Does he have enough to break that? He'd have to... oh yeah, he already brought this out, so it's 3. It still cost him 9 out of his... 11 of... yeah, let's do it. I need him off my back. And I know I've got a couple turns to stabilize. Yeah, when someone does a big deep dig like that and they don't hit stuff, you have something of an idea what's coming up in the rest of your decks. Like especially a deck like this, he dug like 5 deep and didn't get any trash any traps or get any agendas. That means this is all ice and operations, and I know what my ice and operations are, so I have a pretty good idea of the kind of stuff that's coming up. And archived. I'm really tempted to archive for a hedge fund, as dumb as that sounds. Or I can archive for a cerebral, and then Mushin in the same turn. And people love to go for that because they think you're using them, but I won't get the full 4 value. Still, it'll hurt. I think right now, though, yeah, right now, stabilizing is the most important thing by far. I've got the half of the kill combo. I've got that. If I can set up the kill, I can still get the game on lock. And motioning for the cerebral would be a good way to do that. Then I could put the whirlpool in HQ, and then if he runs, he gets hurt really bad. So I might still be able to eke my way out of this. Yeah, I think archive memories for the cerebral, Mushin the cerebral. I won't be able to advance it to 4, which means there's a higher chance that he'll run it. And if he I actually want him not to. Wait, he DDoSed me. Okay, that doesn't do a ton. Unless he's going to try to apocalypse me right now, and that would super suck. Or is he just trying to poke me? There's a cerebral. Okay, yeah, that. Yeah, I seriously think they should make DDoS a restricted card. I don't understand why it's not. But yeah, I took that big risk early on to try to score that, and I got it, but I just couldn't stabilize in time against Omar. And still, if he hadn't top decked that, I could have had a chance to still come back and win. Let's look at the deck. One, two, three, four, 5 cards down. Another agenda and 2 more traps. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance if he hadn't gotten that labyrinth beam that I still could have come back and won. So anyway. Sedated Fork, huh? That's a name. What do we got? Opening hand. That's not the worst. Alright, I'll keep it. Got a bunch of our ice, so let's start with that. Let's use big fat ice early on. I can probably save the vanilla for fodder later. So let's put a big fat Cody on R&D, and let's put Come Emu onto HQ, and pass the turn. What you gonna do, Haley? What you gonna do? Satcon, okay, that doesn't really affect us much this game. There's a carp, camp. Let's see what we got. Let's go draw. There's a cortex lock. And then let's gain 2 credits. Haley's probably going to take her time setting up, so I think we can be a little slower this time and not like over rush ourselves. But still, we've got a Mushin. We should really be finding something to use it on. We need to be forcing some kind of decision out of the runner. We can't just sit here and let them do anything they want. I'm drawing all the ice. Well, to Hegdeer, they're not using MU. Let's see how valuable the Cortex locks ends up being when you start hosting things on Hegdeer so they don't cost any MU. Although if they put down a nanotech, that's going to suck. Which is a pretty good chance. There we go, there's something we can do. Ding. Ding. Advance, and see what happens. It is a Mushin deck, sometimes you just gotta play the odds. Now they're probably gonna run for it because I think they can eat the damage. Turntable, huh? Well, that would be, if that was a June bug, that would be 8 damage. So that'd be 24 credits. So yeah, I don't think they can. Okay, they're gonna let me get it. Now they have the feedback filter, which I definitely expected the feedback filter. So that means that June bugs are going to be not our way of killing them. We need to brain damage them. Feedback filter can prevent 2 of that, but that's it. So if we can get a giant cerebral, it can be good. Anyway, what are we going to do here? So let's go. Scry. Straw. And PPO. So yeah, one big fat reason that I spent the 6 influence to put 3 copies of Cerebral in here instead of 3 copies. 3 Cerebrals, 2 June bugs instead of vice versa is because there's a lot of damage prevention cards that Cerebral gets through. It's like feedback filter can prevent as much brain damage, as much net damage as they can pay for, but it caps out at 2 brain damage. Now Caldera can prevent as much brain damage as you can pay for, which is, you know, Caldera and a bunch of money is definitely not good news for this deck. But that's a reason to consider putting in voter intimidation, because you can blow up Caldera with voter intimidation. Alright, so again, Whirlpool is blank for now, because if you have Labyrinthine scored, then Whirlpool is just ID ability fodder. So what do I want to do here? I don't need a second Clones Are Not People. So let's draw. There's a Mirage-U. Should probably put that on. Well, are they using indexing? The Mirage-Us, if they don't have indexing, I'll slap it on HQ. If they do have indexing, then I want to put it on R&D. So, hey, there's a good chance they're running indexing. Maybe I'll wait and see if they play one first. I'm a little clogged right now, but I don't need that. Don't need that, because I got other ice I can use for fodder, and we're done. And it gives a chance to res stuff. And let's make them spend money, make them summon their breakers. Hi, Sushi. Hey, kitty. Yeah. I'm just going to eat the 2 damage. Well, that's also 6 credits. I'm okay with paying 2 for them to pay 6. I'm cool with that. This was a booth. We can pay 3. And cost them exactly all of their money to get through. Yeah, they just took a big credit hit just for a random off-the-top access. I was expecting Tapworm, especially with the 2 satcons, but I guess not. It's an IPO, that's good. Let's just take that. Ditch the vanilla for now. So yeah, we got the big fat, most important first part of our combo. The Labyrinthine Servers is definitely the most difficult thing to score, the most difficult piece of our combo to attain. Once you've got this, though, you can calm down a lot when playing this deck. So, again, I don't see any indication if they're playing indexing or not, and they're pretty poor right now. So I think I'll just hang on. Again, I think I'll just hang on to things. Give me credit. Play that IPO, shuffle the money cards back in with the preemptive later. Yeah, as far as preemptive targets, like you might think that shuffling your traps and Mushins back in are top priority, and they're definitely way up there, but I would probably say money. Shuffling back in money cards are top priority, because you do have the archive memories to get back Mushins and traps. I got 2 of these. Okay, let's get back money, and a Mushin. Yeah, our opponent's not really putting any pressure on us right now. Okay, now they are. Yeah, now they're going to start accelerating. Yep, and they did host it. So they just made the Cortex lock significantly more powerful. Yeah, now their stuff's going to be a problem. So I really need there we go. There we go. That's what I want to see. Okay, so let's. I really should wait till next turn and try to advance it 4 times. So 4 times, but I'll still get 1 damage through and make them blow up their feedback filter. I play this now. Yeah, as much as humanly possible, you want to Mushin and advance. You want to spend your turn, Mushin something, and advance it to 4. Like, just Mushining something for 3 it feels fine most of the time, but playing this deck for a bit, like, advancing it that last time makes the frequency at which the runner will go for it much, much, much lower. So, no more action. This will make them have to blow up their feedback filter, or just eat 3 brain damage. With their feedback filter gone, that means the June bugs are back online. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and they are playing indexing. The one brain damage that went through, yeah, so that was totally worth it. The one brain damage that went through hit an indexing, so that means put Miragio in R&D, and it also got rid of their feedback filter entirely. Unless, of course, they're playing Levy, which they might very well be. Drew another Mushin already, but yeah, that goes on R&D 100%. Yes, we got through one of their silver bullets and learned a very important piece of information. So that was definitely a good play. And as long as feedback filter is gone, then the June bugs are a threat again. So the next big question is, are they running Levy to get that feedback filter back? Which they are not, because they have Magnum Opus, and I keep, for some reason, Magnum Opus keeps like getting through my blinders that that's a restricted card now. I don't know why. Like, I see Mopus and it's just, I'm still like wondering about threats from other cards. Like, no, Mopus is, if they have Mopus, they don't have Levy. So yeah, I should have realized that sooner. If they have Mopus, they don't have Levy. They're both restricted. I keep forgetting Mopus is restricted for some reason. But anyway. So let's see, we got I definitely want something. Well, Mirage was there just to stop indexing, so it's not a huge rush to put something in front of it. Yeah, let's see, we can... we need to put some of these somewhere. So let's go ahead and put this on HQ. Get into my credits. So we've got a Mushin, a writer in the bin. So we've got two different win conditions we can go for right now. We can either draw more traps and Mushin out the traps and try to go for the guaranteed kill shenanigans. Or we can draw an agenda, Mushin the agenda, and try to get the clones are not people score. So that's the Fairchild. And I've got a Koma Inu here, and they do not have a way to deal with it. So am I gonna get a 6 damage Koma Inu fire? Hot damn. I think I am. That's paperclip. Oh, no, okay, that's what they did, okay. Yeah, I forgot. I thought that was a fan site. Didn't notice that was an artist colony. I thought that was a fan site. Where did they get the... Wait, where did they get the paperclip from? They only had one fan site to sack. They didn't have... Yeah, where did paperclip come from? Oh, okay, she had nanotech in her hand. Okay, I see now. I see, okay. That still cost them a buttload of money. just forgetting IDs have triggers. Yeah, I was thinking the Artist Colony was a fan site for some reason. Yeah, so they Artist Colony sacked the fan site, summoned Paperclip and installed it, and then used Haley's ability to also install Nanotech. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was really careless of them to just run that big ass server like that with only Gordian Blade installed. So yeah, they had Shaper bullshit up their sleeve. So here we go. I could do that. I could do that, and if yeah, let's. Would I have enough money? 2, 3. Yeah, I would. Okay, so let's. Moment of truth. If they run it, they get an agenda. If they don't run it, then I win next turn, because I can play Clones Are Not People, advance it once, score. 7 points for the win. And now we just gotta see the balls on this guy. See if he'll go for it. He's drawing up. He might be thinking of going for it. He's already taken 1 brain damage. So running archives. Not entirely sure why. He's just checking to see if anything's there, I guess. Nope, he went for it. Okay. Oh, then he turntabled the one with counters on it. Ah, that sucks. That sucks really bad. Damn it. Well, let's get those 3 back. Yeah, if he hadn't run that, we would have won next turn. So yeah, the turntable swapping that took away our combo piece. That really sucks. Yeah, turntables only useful every once in a while, but when it's useful, it's usually really, really useful. I would almost consider turntable a silver bullet card. And now that there's 3 ice on R&D, then Nanotech's got 4 strength, so that means Cortex Lock is 1 to break, so it's garbage now. Yeah, I would almost consider turntable a silver bullet card. Yeah, it's just, yeah, Cortex Lock is effectively blank now. Still costs him 7 to get through Toll Booth. If I put DNA Tracker there, then he's going to Gordian through that. That's not good. So, yeah, Koma Inu's probably the best thing I can overwrite Cortex Lock with. That's probably what I'm going to do, because Cortex Lock is useless now. Alright, so right now we're waiting for another Mushin to show up. All 3 of them are back in our deck. Or if we pull another Cortex Lock, we can just straight install advance it. Okay, do I want to erase that? I think I do, because if they index, I can Mirage you, but if they still just luck sack a 3-pointer off the top, they just They just flat out win. You don't get the +1 point, I get the +1 point. Or I guess they get it. See, now if I Mushin the Obokata, there's almost no point in scoring it. Unless I can get another clones out, so I could Mushin the Obokata and just pray that they don't go for it, but that's a huge risk, because if they do, they just flat out win. So, Junebug, that's better. Yeah, right now I definitely want to be putting the focus on Mushining traps, because I want them, with the freedom through equality out, they know that if they steal a 3-pointer, they just win. Like, the game's over, so they're going to start being aggressive. Yeah, they're going to start being aggressive because they know that if they hit an agenda, they basically just win. I'm going to need my Whirlpool back. There's Tapworm. There's some money for me, so let's just advance, not res. There we go. Alright, so I need to be thinking about my outs right now. If they touch an agenda, they win, because they've got the freedom through equality out. And I don't have my no jack out thing anymore because of the labyrinthine servers. So that hit us real hard. So I need to be thinking about outs. I've got one more preemptive action. I've got 2 archive memories. So if I don't see an AI on them yet. So if I can get my Whirlpool back. So like if I can get they're hammering R&D as they should be. So if I can get my Whirlpool back. Or they can just do this. And we're into the Junebug. GG. Ruses for the win. The extra funny part of that is even if they drew up to 8 to try to eat the Junebug in case it was a Junebug, they would die to Mad Dash, which is funny. Yeah, what I was going to say is, like, in this situation, my best out, if they didn't run that, would be to archive memories the Whirlpool back, put the Whirlpool on top of R&D, because that's the no jack out effect. And then if they didn't run this, then I could make that gigantic to the point where they couldn't possibly survive it. And then as soon as they run R&D, I just pop the Whirlpool, sack Miraju to send them over to the Junebug and kill them with the Junebug that way. So that would have been my best out. And if they put down an AI so they could break the Whirlpool, well, then I'd just be screwed. But I don't... Nope, they've got an Atman. They do have an Atman in here, but they also don't know what my Trap Ice is. So they're in Ag Infusion, they're very, very likely expecting Excalibur or Mother Goddess, which are 3 and 4 strength respectively. So even though they do have an admin, the chances that they would do admin 1 are pretty low. Although then again, they did run archives. They do know that I have a whirlpool. Like, they did run archives that one time. They do know a whirlpool is in here. So if they were super cautious, they could have installed the admin for admin 1, and then I would have just been boned. I would have just been screwed that time. But because they had the freedom through equality out, and they knew that I have a bunch of 3-pointers, and if they touch one, they win, they got super aggressive and super greedy. So I was able to wait for a trap, put out the trap, and enjoy that there's a higher than normal chance they will go for it because they are really thirsty for that win. So sometimes it's not the card, sometimes it's playing your opponent. Anyway, that's something you got to learn when you're doing a Mushin deck, is learn to read people and the probability that they'll run or not, which takes a lot of practice. Anyway, let's go find our next game. Oh, I had a person in the room, he just left. Okay. Let's chase him. Get back here. Get back here. You get in this game. That's a different max. Give him the GLEF, HF, the Great Lebanese Hamster Farmers. I'm sure that's what that stands for. Let's see, what do we got? Ooh, that's that opening hand. There's the lack of money and the big expensive ice early on is definitely not appealing, but we do have Mushin, Clones, Obokata opening hand, and that could be extremely useful, because if they don't run this, which I'm betting, ooh, they have DDoS. Okay, be careful with that. We know they've got DDoSes now. And I can get to 4 points on turn 2. That means anything I Mushin out, they have to run, or they insta-die. Or lose. So, and I've got that, wow, that is good. Anyway, so this is gonna break me financially. So remember what happened last time when we were against Omar, and we got way too greedy early on and couldn't catch up. So I might want to just ruse that there and just leave it there like it's not a trap. Just pretend, oh, you didn't run it. That might be a good idea. Let's go. Can leave that there like it and pretend it was a trap. That's bad. That's really bad. There we go. Something. Give me something to throw in front of my supers. They do not have Clippy yet. Yeah, they're not going for it, so we should be able to leave it there a while. Let's see if we can... 7 credits can't res it. And David's gonna suck for that, but still cost him 3. Yeah, they're not messing with that, so rather than getting super greedy early on, again, we can try to stabilize a little bit, because they're clearly not going to run it. So let's go... And we can spring it on them later as a ruse, which I'm sure will make them very irritated. But then again, I'm also running the risk of them mawing the clones out of my hand, and that's not cool either. Yeah, they're just going to David through this, and that sucks, but it still costs them the 3. They don't have a ton of money. I need to start chewing through that David. Sure enough, the one Maw trigger gets the clones are not people out of my hand. Of course. Of course, first try. Well, I can still archive memories it back. I still got another one in the deck. All hope is not lost. That's still super annoying. When Maw does that, like, they could have trashed legitimately anything else in my hand and I wouldn't have cared that much. Except the preemptive. I would have cared a little bit. Ah, shit. Yep, people love to Future Perfect. Everyone loves to bid 1 on Future Perfect. And now they mod the preemptive, the one other card in my hand that, yeah, one out of 5 get the one card I care about, 1 out of 5 get the one card I care about. That's how Maw works. I swear that happens more often on JNet than it does in real life. I definitely need to fortify HQ more. That vanilla's not going to last much longer. As soon as I get a paperclip, it means nothing. But they're not touching this trap here, so this just gets to sit here and be a ruse. I could have scored it, and that would have put me at 4 points, but it also would have like crippled me. And then Maw would have come down, and I would have been borked because I would not have been able to res this toll booth at all. So yeah, that Maw would have, like, it sucks that we lost the clones are not people, but this is still not being touched. It's still sitting there basically safe. They're ignoring it, and then if I had gone for that early score, I would have been torn to shreds by that Maw. Yep, they've got the spoon too, and they've got the same old thing to play it. So yeah, I need to... This Obicot is basically out of the game right now. Yeah, they will absolutely try the same old thing that toll booth, or same old thing spooned that toll booth. Got the levy. Yeah, now they've got Clippy in the bin. I need to... There we go, there's something. Yeah, if I had tried to go for that, if I had gotten greedy for that early score, I'd be being ripped apart by Maw right now. And yeah, the Davids are definitely irritating, but it's still costing him 3 credits a pop to run into it. And they don't have a ton of money with this deck. I mean, they've got the data folding, so that's going to start kicking in eventually. But they're mostly doing the Anarch plan of living off of Liberated account, daily cast, and sure gamble, and not much else. And now we know they got deep data minings. Maybe they'll spend their same old things on that, but I've got a good feeling they're going to want to kill this toll. So, or let's not forget levies. Yeah, like or levies. They may be saving that for their levy until they get another levy in their hand. So another influence. We got 1, 2. You can pay 3. What is their influence right now? So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 through 8, 9. They've almost certainly got more than three. They've almost certainly got 3 copies of the Supplier in their deck. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13. So probably got 2 spare. So they either have 2 Suppliers and an extra levy, or they have only 1 levy and more Suppliers. So yeah, they might be keeping that same old thing exclusively for the levy. R&D. There we go. So now we can Mushin Cerebral and see if they run that. Again, don't forget, even with the clones are not people in the bin, we can still find the other one, or we can archive memories. We can archive memories. The clones are not people. Play it and then score this over matter of 4 points. Like, we can still do that. Question is, do we do that now to get this out of the board? The question is, do we do that now because we're good on money now? Do we get the clones back, score this out, get 4 points, and then force them to run everything else that we Mushin, hoping that we can get them to run into the Mushin Cerebral Overrider after that? Or do we try to save that for like do we score 3 points and try to save that for a game-winning ha ha ha? It was there the whole time play, just to troll the hell out of them. Both are viable. Like, both are honestly viable. Because they're totally ignoring this. So you could get to 3 points and then just win off that. Okay, what the? What did they just do? So yeah, they popped their Citadel Sanctuary by accident, which I didn't know you could do that when there's no meat damage to prevent. It's just an open prompt or whatever. Though now I get to see everything they had in their hand, so that's... Because of this, yeah, I get to see everything they had in their hand. So that's... So I'm getting to cheat a little bit because they misclicked really bad. So there's not really much I can do about it, though. And most of this isn't a surprise. Like, StimHack already knew that as StimHack. Net Pavilion, no shocker there. Levy, no shocker. Atman's a surprise, though, but that means I should have seen all their influence then. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. They only have 1 supplier? Really? Why would you do that? Anyway, so yeah, either try to score the 3 points and deal this now, or I think if I do this, they're both viable plans, but I think I'm gonna go with the get the 4 points now. So that's click 1, get that, 2, use it. And now they feel like a doofus for leaving that there for so long. And I could have left that for a 4-point swing after it already spent 3, but I think the better play is to. They're both viable, but I think the better play is to score that now, get on 4 points, and then force them to have to run everything I Mushin after that, which then forces them into this Cerebral. And I'm going to put out next turn. Because if you're at 4 points and you Mushin something, and they don't run it, it's an agenda, they just lose. So you get to that game point, you have to run everything point, and that's really a stim hack. Just trying to get stuff on the board. I mean, them taking a brain damage is great. Do I want to bother resing this if it's just a stim hack? I mean, they get that money and have them not be able to spend it on anything. If they're going to be able to spend it on Toll Booth anyway, so just res it. You're going to be able to spend money on Toll Booth. Sometimes when you see an Anarch player trying to use stim hack just to like barf out all their conspiracy breakers or something, it might be better just to not res any of your stuff, because then they get that 9 credits and they can't do anything with it. And then they basically just take a brain damage for nothing. Ouch, that sucks. So they still need one more to win. So that's... Right. And see what they do. Because they stim hacked themselves. Which honestly, as soon as they noticed that this was a Mushin deck, stim hack was not a very good idea, because Mushin decks have overriders. If you're against a Mushin deck, do not use stim hack. Do not damage yourself in dealing with traps and stuff, because now they have 0 hand size for the rest of the game. Which means if I can find a neural EMP and they make a run, they die. It also means it's near impossible for them to steal an Obokata, because they're starting every turn at 0 hand size. So there is still a small chance they could win by making like one Hail Mary run and hitting one of the other labyrinthine servers. Okay, let's meet. Yeah, punitive's blanks. If they steal something, they win. So. Even I've had worse doesn't mean anything, so they'll have to discard it. So like my hunt right now is find that neural EMP. Koma Inu's pretty blank though. So they also don't have a paper clip, so why are you running where there's a vanilla? 0 hand size Koma Inu is pretty blank. So you don't have to break that. Not sure what they're trying to do. I just want to shuffle back in. I only got 2 neural MPs left in the deck, then I have to wait for them to make a run. So I'll just shuffle some Mushins and some. I'll shuffle the other preemptive action back in. That's a good idea. Although then again, wait a minute, what am I doing? Like, what am I? Wait a second, what am I doing? I can just. I'm at 4 points. I can just flat out score this Obokata right now. Or can I? Well, they are max. They get an automatic draw. So they start at 0. Their max auto draw brings them to 1, so they can draw, run. So yeah, they could run it. They could go draw, run it, and have 4 cards because they're max and they get that passive draw. Or if they got an item that works. So I could, so they would be able to steal that. And they kind of have nothing to lose, so. You can't get through. What are you doing? It's twice now you've made really weird runs. You can't get through. So let's just... Oh, I can just... Now their one hope of winning is top decking a Labyrinthine Serpent. If they luck sack into a Labyrinthine, or if they luck sack into a Labyrinthine, they can still win. If that had been an overrider win. So I'm sitting on this Obokata. Which again, they could draw, run HQ, and have a very small chance of getting it, but they could get it. Still, like luck sacking off the top of R&D is their... They could get it, so again, absolutely want that D. And let's granted, when I'm shuffling stuff back in with preemptive action, I'm also reducing the chances that I'll find that neural EMP I'm looking for. If I put some brain damage traps back in. So we're kind of in this weird little Cold War right here. Like I clearly have the advantage right now, but they're also at 6 points. If either, it looks like I have a huge advantage right now with the 0 hand size for them, and I do. But if either one of us scores an agenda, we win. So the runner is still on game point right now. They still have some kind of threat. They can get into servers. They are on game point. As bad as it looks for Max right now, they do have some kind of threat. I could motion that out. Hopefully that would be game. I'm wondering if I should put this Chiashi on HQ or R&D. Well, it's coming. Yeah, it's fortify HQ with it. Yeah, Cortex Lock is live, and that costs 6 credits to break, so 9, 6, 15. Yeah, it costs around 20 credits for them to get into R&D once. Whereas HQ is going to be 1 credit, so yeah, that's... Yeah, even if they clicked through Fairchild 2, it still costs them 17 credits and 2 clicks. What with the Atman 6? They're expecting DNA tracker? They must be expecting DNA tracker. So it's... I don't need to Mushin it. They have 0, I can just... Got that in the bin. So they could, next turn, they could draw 2 clicks, same old thing, draw 5, and then run it if it's an Obokata. So yeah, but... We're both on game point, but I've got the pressure. Because I've got this nonsense, they have to run this. Or they're just conceding the game to me, basically. They've still got 1 more levy, so this Obokata is not as safe as it feels like. Scratch that. Maybe they do. Oh, that's right. Now that they have Atman installed, Chiashi goes off. If they wanted to, they could reinstall. They could install Paperclip over Atman. That's probably what he's thinking about doing right now. And he mawed the Obokata. I'm not entirely sure if that's good or bad. Still got 1 more preemptive though. What would I shuffle back in? I definitely want that back. There we go. That answers our problem. All right, there we go. Played a couple of games. We won most of them. It's a pretty fun deck if you're into Mushin nonsense. So yeah, thanks for watching, and thank you and good night.